Hello and welcome to Monday Mindfulness. This week we're going to be focusing on an extension of the bonus meditation that I shared earlier, which is more about general awareness of where our attention goes. And I'd like to build on that and allow us to open to being mindful of what we're actually carrying. So the emotions, the thought spirals, all of these like maybe obligations or connections with people, all of these different dynamics that we choose to carry around with us and that are part of our experience. So I'd like to help us to look at that, and I use a lot of meditation to look at these things and get clarity on these things, and often, especially around the full moon, which is now, I like to do a lot of letting go ceremonies. So that tends to be when I'm feeling through a lot of these things, getting clear on them, and really thanking that teacher and deciding what I can surrender and let go of, and what I'm choosing to consciously invest in. So we can use meditation and ceremony as tools to focus on this, but I also like to use modern productivity tools to help me stay focused as well. If I'm trying to keep my to-do list carried in my mind, I can probably use my energy more effectively and use a task tracking tool like Redmine or Trello, and actually not have to carry that so much. You know, phones are great things, computers are great things, and I like to be able to use them to cover things that my mind doesn't have to carry all the time. So there's lots and lots of ways to lessen this load, and I'm not saying that some loads are good or bad. I'm just saying that I personally like to have a lot of overflow of energy that I can give with, and I do know that if I carry too much, it just starts to feel unsustainable, and then I can go through another letting go process and reset, and then come back into things again when I'm feeling clear. So this can be used as a every now and then thing. You might do it once a month, you might do it once a year, where you actually take stock of what you're carrying and let go of it. But I tend to use it as a general walking around practice. So I'm fairly mindful every day of what I'm choosing to carry on that day, and if there's things that I can let go of, if there's things that I can just write down and let go, or any other number of ways. It could be something that I need to put into my calendar to remember. It could be something that I would like to change, but I can't right now, and some anxiety around that. So letting that go. It could be just something that I don't know, and just finding peace with that. And sometimes, sometimes I personally can hold some tension about the unknown, and what that might mean, and how my mind might like to control it. So this is this technique gives me the ability to look at these things and find some humility, find some peace, and some bigger vision of what all of this is, and to just get realistic with myself and love myself, and find a way forward that's sustainable and productive for everyone. So what we're going to do after, I think that's the most I've talked on a Monday Mindfulness. So yes, I hope you got something from that. And now we're going to go into a meditation practice. So just closing your eyes down. Take a few deep breaths. Just letting your body relax. And just noticing what's happening in the body right now. Is there any tension? Is there any sensations that are standing out? Is there any emotions? Just opening and noticing, continuing to breathe long and deep, and noticing what you feel. Noticing what's naturally happening in this moment in the body. Noticing if you carried anything into this room with you, physically, emotionally, mentally. Notice if there's any residue of the day that you've brought into the room with you. Just feel it. Notice what you're experiencing. Allowing the breath to be expansive and long and deep. Allowing everything you feel to be exactly as it is. And just noticing if there's any residue of anything you've been carrying this week. Anything that's occupied your thoughts. Anything that's fueled your emotions. Anything that the body's experiencing or holding on to. So just take a minute to notice if you've been carrying any thought patterns this week, any thoughts about a particular thing, particular person. Just staying with it and noticing. Notice how that thought feels. Notice how important that thought feels to you. Notice if it feels energizing or draining. Just opening to all the details of that thought. Just noticing any thoughts that you've carried lately. Noticing if they've been repeating or if they've been new. Noticing if it's something that you need to mentally carry or whether it's something that you can just add to your schedule, remind yourself about, or take time to really focus on it and give it some attention. So we can work through it and no longer need to carry it. Or you could just choose to continue to carry it, it's up to you. We're just looking, observing, and noticing here. Noticing if there's any lessons that this thought is teaching you. How does it relate to your best case scenario? Just noticing. You might notice that you've been carrying this thought for a while. Some thoughts you might have been carrying for years, some thoughts you might have just been carrying this week. Just notice how new or old these thought patterns feel. And now we're going to bring our awareness to our emotions, noticing what emotions we're carrying right now. How it feels to be living in this body in this moment. And noticing if there's any emotions that you've been carrying through the week. Noticing their qualities, noticing if they feel warm or cold, noticing if they make you feel like you're shrinking or growing. Breathing and feeling. Just noticing the emotions that you've carried this week, There might be a few key emotions that you've carried around for the week. It might be a general overtone or a whole bunch of different emotions that have come through. Just noticing. Just allowing yourself to find peace in feeling. Allow yourself to feel these emotions for a little bit longer. Noticing each one, noticing the details. Noticing if it's an emotion that you feel passionate about investing in growing, or if it's an emotion that you're more passionate about learning from and releasing and letting go of. Just noticing that. And as you open your awareness to these emotions, notice if you can feel like they're like tugging on your coat saying, I want to teach you a lesson, or I have something really important to say. Are these emotions speaking to us in a way that we might not have heard fully? What are they trying to say to you? And does your interpretation of what it's trying to say feel true? Does it feel wholeheartedly honest? It's okay either way. We're just noticing, opening and allowing. Noticing these emotions, noticing if they repeat, noticing if there's mental stories attached to some of these emotions, noticing if there's belief systems and ideas of how things should be that are attached to these emotions. Noticing if it feels like something that I'm imposing or it's a natural flow. Just noticing what you feel, allowing those emotions to be what they are, feeling for their source, their essence, their message. And just noticing if we feel passionate about growing this emotion or these emotions, noticing each one that stood out for you recently, and just feeling if it feels like one that you're excited and passionate about growing, whether it's one you can learn from, love, and let go, whether there's some action that it's inspiring and we can take that action and then we don't need to hold it, or whether it's something that we just are happy to hold for now. Every option is exactly the way it'll be. So just open up your awareness to the whole body, to the whole experience. And just allow yourself to relax and surrender in the totality of now. Allowing this body-mind to be exactly what it is right now. Keep that awareness while you take a few deep, deep breaths, keeping that relaxation, keeping that calm sensitivity, that allowing of the moment. And just allowing yourself to naturally open And be aware of what's happening in your body again right now. Just noticing how now feels in the body. Notice if anything is still being carried at all. Just allowing whatever is to be what it is. And now, as we slowly come back to the room, very, very slowly moving your fingers and toes, moving slow enough so you can stay aware, stay sensitive, stay relaxed. Opening up your eyes. And as you do this practice, you might notice that it creeps out into your day as well, and you start to become more and more aware of what you're carrying in any given moment. And I just feel more released and relaxed and free right now. I feel not like I'm really holding on to too much anymore. And that feels really nice. There's times to hold on to things, but often my mind can believe that it's for a lot longer than I really need to. But yeah, that's the process from any given moment. So I hope you had a wonderful sit, and I'd love to hear about how you're using this practice in your life and how it's affecting you. And I invite you to come back and check out next week's Monday Mindfulness. Hope you have a fantastic week this week and have a beautiful day, beautiful week, beautiful month. Aho.